Lonely Monk Productions. Welcome to Too Old, Too New, the music discovery podcast that brings you something old, something new, something Nate, something Bruce. I'm Nate Runkle, host of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast, and with me, as always, is my good friend Bruce Warren of WXPN. The premise of this show is simple. Each week, we bring you 2 songs apiece. One new song that has been metaphorically spinning our turntable platters, and one old song that we believe still absolutely matters. What is up, my friend? You're outside.
I'm outside. I can mean one thing and one thing only. I'm on vacation, my friend.
I didn't know they gave you vacation. I thought the whole world would fall apart over there if you weren't there.
Well, if you ask a few of my colleagues at work today, they don't think I'm actually on vacation. But yes, I'm kind of on vacation, and I'm psyched because, as I told you, I am bound. I'm onward to Connecticut to see Fish, and then Newport Folk Festival this weekend. So I'm pretty psyched.
That's incredible. What's your big pull? What are you most excited for Newport?
Learning about bands that I didn't know about.
Yes.
However, that being said, it's like I don't want to leave anybody off the list, but come on, fucking The War on Drugs are playing, okay? And Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings are playing, and Killer Mike is playing, and De La Soul is playing, and Joan Baez is doing his poetry reading. So come on.
Yeah, it's
there
phenomenal.
You go.
That's
there you
killer.
Go.
That's
yeah.
absolutely killer.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear a full report on.
There will be one. There will be one. Yeah.
So let me jump into my new pick for this week,
Sure.
which anybody who knows me or has grown up with me or anything, this will come as no surprise. But my pick this week is the new Weird Al polka medley, Polka Mania. I'm an enormous Weird Al fan. I always have been. Some of my earliest songwriting was me writing song parodies that were not anywhere as good as Al's, but I could hang, I guess I could say. And maybe someday I'll bust some of them out. Probably not. They're all like what you would expect a 15-year-old kid to write about, which I probably shouldn't be singing at 47. But Weird Al has always been a huge influence on me, mostly because I feel like he's one of the most underrated musicians, and these polka medleys always kind of perfectly showcase like how brilliant he is, not only to be able to kind of, pull off some of these songs, but to kind of form them into one massive polka. And finding a snippet of this was absolutely impossible because there's so many great parts. So let's just listen to this little piece of Polka Mania, the latest polka medley from Weird Al Yankovic.
I want you to park that Big Mac truck right in this little garage. Yeah, you're messing with some. Bring a bucket and a mop for this. Give me everything you've got for this. I'm talking whap, whap, whap. That's some. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. I'm so super grateful for my ex. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. Super duper grateful for my ex. I stay out too late.
Yes, and then right into the Taylor Swift. So if you're unfamiliar, the snippet started with WAP from the affectionately abbreviated Wet Ass Pussy, which of course Al would never say. Which is Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Then Thank You Next by Ariana Grande, and then it ends on Shake It Off with Taylor Swift. We also have Bad Guy by Billie Eilish in there, Hello by Adele, Flowers by Miley Cyrus, We Don't Talk About Bruno from Encanto, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, Despacito by Louis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee, The Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, and Uptown Funk, which was Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. He likes to do these as little time capsules, and he kind of joked about the fact that it's been 10 years since he did one, so this is like one of the largest ones he had to do. But what I think was very interesting about this one, and it kind of exposes where music has been in the past 10 years, is how female pop dominated this is. And big pop stars too, like Adele Taylor Swift,
Right.
Olivia Rodrigo. They've just kind of dominated. The only thing that was missing was like a Beyonce song in there, to kind of round it out. But absolutely phenomenal stuff from Al. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our friend Raina Doris, who recently won the award for the World Cafe interview with Weird Al, which is just levels of amazing.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing. So how long is the actual version of this on streaming services? How long is it?
I
have
want
any
to say
idea?
I want to say like 7 minutes or
Okay.
something like
All right.
that.
Yeah.
I forget the total
Yeah.
time, the total track time.
Yeah, well, to your point about like the arrangement, I mean that's like half the genius, like getting it to come together in such an incredible manner, and just it has energy. So generally, are you a polka fan?
A little bit, mostly because my grandmother was a polka fan and played accordion. So like I have a little bit of that in my blood.
Okay. All right. So the reason why I bring that up is, the Anthony LaMarca, he's a guitarist for the War on Drugs.
Yeah.
I don't know. You may know of him. You may not know him.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know him, but
Anthony lives in Youngstown, Ohio, and there's a very famous studio there called Peppermint Studios, where for 30, 40 years, they made some of the greatest polka records of all time here, like based in the United States. And Anthony still has a very strong connection to a lot of the older musicians from like some of those classic polka years, whenever those were, in the 60s and 70s. And first of all, Anthony's an awesome guy to talk to, but he is a fountain of incredible polka knowledge, believe it or not. You may want to bring him onto any number of your 20 podcasts that you have.
I may have to. I could definitely go in the weeds about some polka. That's amazing. The other thing I do want to mention about Weird Al is 2 years ago, my wife and I dressed as Weird Al and Madonna from the Weird story that he did. And somehow the picture of us got to Al, and he picked us as one of his favorite couples and shared our photo on his Instagram. And that was, without a doubt, one of the highlights of my life.
Hey, it would have been a highlight of mine as well. Well, good stuff. I love it.
What do you got?
Well, I got hopefully what everybody else got for free this week. It's the new Jack White record. So, if you haven't heard about this, it's been pretty much all over the interwebs. I first heard about it because a friend of mine, a guy named Justin Barney, who works at a great radio station in Nashville, WNXP, took a photo. So he lives in Nashville. That's where Third Man Records is. And he went record shopping on Sunday, or maybe it was Saturday. And when he opened up his bag of stuff that he got, he had a white label record, vinyl, and it was this new Jack White record. And like nobody knew like what was going on until people started opening their bags and realizing that Jack White had a new record, and the folks who were working at the record store were just like very quietly slipping into the purchases of people who bought records there. And one thing led to another. And then I guess they put it up on Instagram, and, the rest is sort of history. Now, here's the deal. It doesn't have a name. So people are calling it the No Name album, but it also doesn't have names of songs. So all it says is like, side 1, track 1, side 1, track 2, side 1, track 3, and so on and so forth. And you flip the record over, same thing. So the song that I've picked, first of all, it is a fucking great record. Jack is just in his rock and roll guitar glory. All the elements of Jack White are there, full on, in your face, and all the blues stuff. And it's just, he's a great songwriter and a great performer and an amazing guitarist. So it's all here. Track 7, side 1. Let's do this.
Voodoo woman, Simon says it won't be long before my stereo breaks 100,000 plays. I bring back se1ep from the dead. I've got a feeling that the truth's become opinion these days. That train has left the station, but our love will grow. It's floor to ceiling and appealing, but who cares what they say? 'Cause it doesn't matter who, it
So there you go. All the familiar Jack White things, isms. Classic rock has not died. It has just come back as No Name, the new album by Jack White. So there you go.
The album is currently being resold on Discogs for $1,000.
No way.
So yes, there is, and the very first copy that sold for $75. So tell me that guy isn't kicking himself. Like he probably thought he.
Yeah, he's kicking himself, but I don't think that's cool. Like
no, I'm not into it.
That's not cool. It's a great bragging right, whatever. But like. Yeah. Okay. That's all. That's all I have to say.
No, it's this weird kind of record flipping thing that started happening, and it happens a lot during Record Store Day, which drives me absolutely insane because I now have to like get a reservation and get up super early in the morning to make sure to get what 5 years ago I used to just kind of walk in meandering, at whatever time and be able to pick up what I was looking for. But it's very frustrating because like. I'm somebody who wants these albums to listen to, and that there's, people buying them up just solely to flip them. I don't know. It's not my fault. It's capitalism's fault. Like, I gotta say, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally. But, it's very cool that they actually just put it up on the internet, on a Google Drive somewhere, and you can do that. I'm very curious to see if he's going to put it on a streaming services, because it hasn't happened yet. So we'll see what happens. It's very. The other thing is, I think it would be great. He should do like all these like unannounced shows like all around the country. That would be really freaking cool. So we'll see what happens.
It's incredible because like he's somebody who not only like I don't want to say he single-handedly saved vinyl. But he's like one of the big champions of it, right? Who, during the pandemic upped his production output of vinyl to be able to keep up when there was the plastic shortage and stuff like that. And then also, kind of release that kind of plea to the labels to step their end up because, it's a format that is kind of growing surprisingly back to an actual dominant kind of piece of physical release, more so than any other format. So for him to do something like this, to not just sneak release a new album, but to give it for free, is absolutely phenomenal and admirable, and it's kind of speaks to. I'm sure he's in a place where he can do this, like
I was just going to say that.
Like I don't want to pretend like, just any regular person should be able to do this, but that he still, is able to kind of kickstart a conversation in the industry around release and physical releases.
Yeah. So now that we've heard a couple of really awesome new things, you're gonna rock out with something very cool on the old side of things.
That's right. So I wanted it to be a song by Petra Haden. And I texted Bruce yesterday and I was kind of stuck between like 4 or 5 Petra Haden songs that I wanted it to be. And I couldn't decide if I wanted it to be her all a cappella version of God Only Knows, one of the songs from her all a cappella version of the entire album of The Who Sells Out, something from her solo album, Imaginary Land, which was what I kind of settled on, which was the Bach Prelude in C minor or C major. I can't remember. Anyway, that's what I was going to pick. But in doing research for this, I came across an album that I didn't even know about. And it's a project that she did with Yuka Honda, released by Chimera Records. And it's called If by Yes. All right. And I was just like, oh, what's this? Let me check it out. I'm a huge Yuka Honda fan. I'm a huge Petra Haden fan. How did I not hear about this? It came out in 2011. And by track 2, I knew that I found my new obsession for at least the next few weeks. I've already looked up ordering a copy of the vinyl, speaking of vinyl, because it's this beautiful album that somehow missed me. So the song that I picked today to share with you guys is If by Yes, and the song is Eliza, and it features David Byrne from Talking Heads, and it's absolutely stunning. So let's listen to a little Eliza by If by Yes. That just slays me, man.
Their voices just sound like bread and butter together. I mean, it's like they sound so good on that.
Well, that's one of the major strengths of Petra Hayden is her vocal arrangements. I don't know how many people are familiar with her. She was in That Dog with her sister Rachel. She's also a part of the Hayden triplets. Her other sister Tanya, who's a cellist, who's actually married to Jack Black. They're all the children of Charlie Hayden, the jazz bassist.
Jazz royalty, right?
Yeah, she's done work with Bill Frisell. She's done work with Beck. She's playing violin on Time of Your Life by Green Day, which is another factoid that I only just heard today that kind of blew me away. And she was in the Decemberists for a bit of time. So she's somebody who I'm sure everybody has kind of had at least some touch with. But might not know. So I definitely wanted to pick something out. And like I said, man, who knew that her and Yuka Honda did the Postal Service thing and put an album together from the other sides of the country, and it could be as amazing as this.
Well, great find, and definitely I was not familiar with it until you brought it to my attention, so I'm definitely going to check it out. Oh, wait, there's a helicopter. Helicopter. No,
Paparazzi.
Don't worry. It's not the end of Goodfellas here, right?
That's amazing. It would be amazing if your choice was jump into the fire.
Hold on. I got right. I got to stir the sauce. That movie, by the way, I know we're not here to talk about movies, Nate, but that movie is my favorite all-time movie. So just for the record,
for good reason, man.
In case you wanted to know. All right. So for my whole thing. So listen, back in 1983, a really fun thing happened. 2 songs came out that were sort of like each other. One was a song called A-E-I-O-U and Sometimes Why by a New York City sort of new wave dance synth pop group called Eben Ozin. There was another song that came out with just the I-O-U by a British group called Freeze. And they both sort of had the same new wavy, synthy, dancey vibe to them. And they were both big hit songs. The one I'm focusing on today is the song called I-O-U, which also, by the way, had a chorus of A-E-I-O-U, right? And sometimes Y to make it even more confusing. But it was written by, the band was sort of, the real star of this song was actually the guy who wrote it and produced it, a guy named Arthur Baker, whose new wave hip hop influenced dance, hip hop songs, whatever, grew quite popular in the early 80s. And Baker worked with dozens and dozens of bands, including Africa Bambaataa, looking for the perfect beat, New Order. His discography and remix discography is totally extensive. So I wanted to play this because it's just a fun fucking song. So here you go. I-O-U, it's Freeze. And by the way, for all you club DJs out there, if you were ever going to play this song, absolutely make sure you follow it with Human League's Don't You Want Me Baby, because you will not have a soul leave the dance floor. I promise you that. Or money. There's a money back guarantee on that. So there you go. That's Freeze, I-O-U.
You have done something which was filled a missing link in my brain, because the second I hit play on this, I was like, this is the fucking song I've been like, I remember it from my childhood so vividly. And
Yeah.
the second it started playing, I was like, my God, I haven't thought about this probably since 83. Like,
Yeah, there's a whack video also that they did. Whack isn't the right word. It's a unique video that they really did, where it's like 2 guys, one's playing like a guitar or whatever, one's not doing anything. They're in like the recording studio and they walk outside and they see a bunch of kids on the street, and then the kids just start breakdancing. It's very confusing if you don't remember that it was made in 1983.
Right, yeah.
So,
By
but
the way,
it's a great song. Great song.
breakdancing an Olympic sport now, which is phenomenal.
What?
I can't believe that. Yes, there's an Olympic competition for breakdancing now.
Wait a second. Did I miss that? Did I miss that headline
week.
on?
That's
All
right. Next week.
All right.
We
Well,
made it.
I'm fucking psyched for the Olympics. You know,
Me
I
too.
just, always a highlight. The Summer Olympics. I've always been a big fan of. So I know I'll be sort of glued to the TV a little bit more than usual next week.
Yeah, man.
So there you go. Good stuff, Natiphonic. Beautiful.
Well, we did
Beautiful.
it again. These are all going to be up on our Spotify playlist. Make sure to check it out. You can find it. There'll be a link in the show notes. Plus, you can always find it on the socials. You can also, as I said, follow us on the socials. I'm at Yo, That's My Jawn. Bruce is at Some Velvet Blog. We're on everything. And you can hear Bruce every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., but not this weekend, right?
Not
That's
this
right.
weekend. Not this weekend.
And you can hear me every Monday from 5 to 8 p.m. on Why Not Radio. Bruce, thanks for doing this yet again.
You're welcome. But wait, time out for a second. I want to go back to Jack White for a second. Because
Yes.
right yesterday, didn't you play the Jack White album in its entirety?
I did. I got to listen to, that was actually my first listen through, was start to finish, side A, little break, side B. It was
Wow.
exciting. That was like
I'm
my
sure
first-
it was.
My first full album play.
That's pretty amazing. Dude, you should have done like one of those reaction videos.
I thought about it. I was going to live stream. I thought about live streaming it, and I was like, guy, you don't have to make content out of everything, you know?
Yeah, go a little easy on yourself, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, man. Good to see you. Thanks.
Good to see you too. Too Old, Too New with Nate and Bruce is a Lonely Monk production, produced and hosted by Nate Runkle and Bruce Warren. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on your podcast provider of choice. If you have any music you think we should hear, or if you would just like to reach out to us, please feel free to email us at tooldtonewmusicpod@gmail.com. And as always, thanks, and we will catch you next time.